All right, so after a break, we're resuming, and we're talking about what we want, you know, how we're envisioning the overall system working. And let's make this conversation platform independent, okay? Sure, we can mention other platforms as examples, but we're not trying to figure out which platforms we're actually going to use. Is that clear? Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. So let's envision it. Here's what I'm envisioning. You go there, and number one, there'll be different default views, right? And you can say, show me the map view, show me the social view, show me the whatever view, right? So the social view might show who I'm connected to, right? In the network of people, just all the people who I'm connected to, for example, on Wakelet, right? If we went with that as kind of our social network, you know, our main social network. So one view is who I'm connected to, but that's just an example. So you got people view, you got topic view, where I could see both what are the topics I'm interested in and where those topics exist within, you know, the big taxonomy or whatever relevant taxonomy. So we don't limit ourselves just to one, okay? What are my topics? Where do they live? And what's going on with each topic? What conversations are live right now on the topics I'm interested in? Yeah, I saw a thumbs up from Nolan. Say it loud. Woo! Show me what's happening right now with the topics I'm interested in. Show me what's planned for the next 24 hours, the next 7 days, you know, different views of topics, conversations, and time frames and calendar and stuff like that, right? Okay. So we got a people view, topics and conversations view. Yeah.
It'd be like an open forum, right?
Totally. And you know what? We could also have a view like, here's a cool little filter. Just imagine this. Because so many of these conversations are repetitive, you know, they happen like every week, right? Some every day. The block party, perfect example. It happens once a week, right? So it's a recurring thing. Let's say that you say, okay, show me all the conversations that are happening right now that are part of a recurring series that I've participated in before. How cool would that be?
Yeah,
Right?
keep track of where you've been, like a history. It'll give you a,
Exactly. It would just, the database would keep track of where you've been, right? What conversations you've been in, right?
your timeline.
Exactly. And the part of software that we've invested the most in Radish is precisely the conversational domain for managing conversations and series of conversations. And it actually works. And I'm thinking it's currently best used by basically an administrator who administers it and actually does the data entry. But anyway, that's a side detail. The point is, the system would keep track of conversations, which ones you've participated in, just all as a database, a simple relational database. Simple as that. And they'll keep track of conversations, series, people, right? And to the extent people would want to make them public, I presume the little Wakelet FlipGrid videos could be included, you know, in what you view of other people. Show me all their Wakelet videos that are public. Show me all the conversations they've participated in. If they're willing to be tagged, they may not want to be. They may want to try to be invisible as much as they can. Of course, they're never going to be invisible if they're on a video conference, right? But in terms of not being tagged, right? Anyway. But these are all details. What I'm really getting at, what are we teasing out here? We got people view, we've got topics and conversations. we've got all kinds of cool filters that we can do, right? All kinds of cool filters, features. We can follow other people. We can see what conversations other people are in. What have they said in the last 24 hours? Give me a synopsis. And imagine that that synopsis is some really cool AI-empowered synopsis where it goes through hours of conversation and picks out the real nuggets. The ones that made the other people go, yeah, yeah, wow. You know, how simple is that? If people give a thumbs up, how hard is it for the AI to detect that? Filter that out and say, boom, here's the synopsis of Jamin's. You know, it's like, you know, I'm a big soccer fan. I love watching international soccer. And I remember when I was living in Spain in 1982 as a kid, and I saw Spain play Ireland in Dublin. And I'm like, wow, they're in Ireland, right? And anyway, so finally, someone had the brilliant idea of creating a show called Solo Goles, only goals. And it would only show the goals. So it's like you see the greatest hits. Anyway, you get the point. It's like seeing only the goals scored in the game. Versus, you know, across the whole league. So, and what we're talking about is actually very, very powerful, because if you watch the thumbs up moments, right, of Elon Musk over the last 24 hours, the greatest thumbs up moments, wow, it's like suddenly you're feeling the pulse of Elon Musk and exactly where he's at. That's powerful. This is way more powerful than Twitter, right? Twitter is so flat, right?
You familiar with with the ThinkSpot? Jordan Peterson, you know what he did not long ago? It's called the ThinkSpot, and that was like very similar. You know, just people having conversations, but it was more in a literal sense. Yet there was video. I mean, I joined up, but you know, I found out it was a little bit hard to actually participate. That's what he was missing. So, but still, it had some good points, good features. We'll create something totally cutting edge.
Yeah, like, I suppose Emily, the best way, I think, from what I'm gathering from what Jamin is saying, is like we've all used a library before, so it's like walking into a library and you're looking for a book on the various subjects or aspects to that subject. But with this platform, people are walking in and getting a book of conversations, really, like an index of past conversations as well as ongoing conversations. And the AI behind it then is also able to, if that person wants to type in or voice in a question, the AI can pick out what the question there or the topic they're talking about and relate different aspects of other people's conversations instantaneously back to them regarding the subject they're specifying. So I'm not tech phobic, or as I said, I'm tech phobic, but I'm not tech efficient, we say. But I grasp exactly where James is coming from. I might not be articulating it very well now here, like, but that's the way I see it, and I think that's as I said earlier on, it's like a group of campfires, conversational campfire conversations, but it's groups of them. Like as James says, there's different pond lilies, and you know, it'll grow, and all the different questions that people have and the frustrations that people have are at the moment in this early stage about where is it going, how is it getting there, where's the link for that, and again, like it's like as James said, we're building a bridge to a horizon we haven't seen before. So it's all patience. It's all about gathering numbers is the most, to me anyway, is the primary thing anyway, gathering numbers and get them involved in the conversations and build the information and build, you know, the whole collective itself. it won't work without the numbers. That's the way I see it. But I get exactly where he's coming from. It's like going into a book, into a library.
Well, you've landed on pages, right, where you have the most frequently asked questions, right? What's it usually called? There's an acronym for
FAQs.
FAQs. Yeah, I mean, that's mind numbing. You know, going through that is mind numbing for me personally. But
Right.
it's important. It's important. It cuts to the chase if people have exactly the right question right there, right? But
Yeah. It is. I agree with what you're saying, Emery, and it's mind-numbing when you have to do it through text yourself, manually through text, and sift through that text and read through that text. But if the text is no longer in text, it's backed up in text form, but the text that we're talking about here is actual conversation, where you only have to enter your initial search, your initial question about the subject that you're speaking of, and you'll get relayed with relative conversation that was pre-recorded, or you'll be led to a conversation that's existing or going on at that particular time. So you won't have to sift through lots and lots of text to get the information you want. The information will be relayed through recorded conversations or ones that are going on in the future, at present, as far as I can make out.
Yeah, and if I may, you guys, just think of it this way, Emery. You get to speak your question right into the system, which recognizes it, transcribes it to text, and then pattern matches it with transcripts of all the past conversations. That's what James is getting at, right?
Well, that would be cool.
And so it'll just come up with the top 3 answers, the top 3 answers that got the most thumbs up, or the least thumbs down, or the highest ratio of thumbs up to thumbs down, or, it'll just say these are the top 3.
And that couldn't be any easier for somebody who's tech phobia like me or yourself, Emery, as far as I'm concerned. Like an initial question and an initial index for them to find where they need to go to ask the question, or type in the question and just wait for the answer, and it'll come up in video form.
It's like on Windows 10. You have the robot there. What's the name of the robot at the bottom? You ask your
Cortana.
Huh?
Is it Cortana you're thinking of?
Yeah, Cortana. Just ask Cortana. Cortana's gonna search for you and gonna give you exactly the right response, right? I mean,
Yeah, this would be fundamentally that. And the way it does it is it comes through the database of all the times that question has been answered. But here's another way of looking at it. Imagine we went more full-featured than that. And we said, give us the top 3 answers from within the CSI. And give me the top 3 answers from the internet beyond CSI. Basically, Google it, right? And show me both top 3 answers. And show me if they agree or disagree, right? Do they cluster around fundamentally the same thing, or are they like totally different? Anyway, you get my point. So Q&A, and that's a huge part of it, because how many times in conversation, imagine I say, hey, does anybody know what the best, open source online, database is that I can just use right now or whatever, right? Rather than us go, duh, I don't know, I could search for it, or I think this, or I think that. Boom. What if the answers just, boom, appeared? Top 3 answers from within the CSI, top 3 answers from Google, right?
Yeah, it would be voice activated, right?
Totally. In fact, every time you ask a question, just because of the intonation, just like we can detect when someone's asking a question, are you asking a question? Versus making a statement, right? The tonality goes down in one way, up in another. And the bottom line is it's very easy for the AI to detect when you're asking a question. And, and you can either put it in default answer every question that's asked mode, or you can say, hey Siri, you know, please answer the preceding question, right? And she'll say, okay. And, you know, no, not you, Siri. She thought I was talking to her. Anyway, you see, it works. We're used to it.
Yeah, that could be very, very enticing for people, you know. Give them some, it's got an entertainment edge to it, you know. It's kind of entertaining in a certain sense. You're able to have a discourse with artificial intelligence. It's really unique. You know, it'd be great to get there.
Yeah,
Anyway.
you're.
Mhm.
No, I just said Emery. Yeah, that's exactly it, Emery. It's enticing because you're getting the opportunity to not only interact with the AI who's behind the machine behind it, but you're getting to interact with vast amount of people's knowledge, and you're getting it straight from their mouths, basically. Like, you know what I mean? The AI is only searching out the relative information.
Yeah, but then you could shoot right over to a Zoom meeting, which is live. You know, you're right at the source. You know, of ongoing discussion about what you just put the search on, and it connects you directly to, perhaps, I'm not guaranteeing that there would be an ongoing conversation at that particular moment, but if not, it will direct you to a calendar perhaps, where an entry has been made for that particular topic, you know, so.
Well, I've got an ooh. I got a couple of oohs. Number one, welcome, Stephanie. Welcome, and we're recording, and we're over 7 hours into. We're 8 hours since we started, and we've had a couple breaks, so probably 7 hours worth of conversation, and we're just getting warmed up here, so it's just getting good. So welcome. And my second ooh is, check this out. Imagine you're talking to, let's just call it the Siri of our system, right? Not you, Siri. Anyway, let's say we're talking to the Siri, and we say, we just describe the kind of conversations that we want to see, right? In fact, I'm really tempted to screen share, but I think it'd be too distracting. But there's a really cool video called Archive Sanity, ARXIV Sanity, and it's all about doing this search that's like whole document comparison, right? And it basically compares any two documents, and it can compare a given document to a whole population of documents and find those that are closest match, because of keyword frequencies and, you know, all kinds of cool stuff. And that software is totally open source. It was written by none other than the head of artificial intelligence for Tesla. That's the guy who Elon Musk picked to be his head of AI for his flagship product, right? So that's a really big deal. Anyway, this guy wrote the code, and it's open source. It's all up on GitHub, and we can play with it and edit it and do whatever we want with it. So we've got direct access to that technology. Let's say we say, hey, look, listen, Siri, I want to find those conversations that talk about this and this and this and this, and really emphasize this. And she will hear really emphasize, okay, prioritize that, you know, but not the ones that talk about this and this and this, right? You know, like the kind of advanced filter you do in Google, where you say, but not about this and this and this, right? Yes, about this, not about that. All that kind of narrowing, and then voila. Now, here's another thing we can do. Hey, Siri, I want you to notify me whenever a conversation comes up that could use my skills with urgency. And they're saying, hey, we urgently need this. And okay, Siri keeps thinking I'm talking to her. Interesting. She found an answer on the web for me. Anyway, it's like relevant stuff. Thank you, Siri. So anyway, what if I said, alert me whenever someone needs my skills with urgency? Because people will be able to articulate, hey, we need this or we need that. Or even if they can't articulate it, but get this. What if they ask questions that they obviously don't know the answer to? Because people within the meeting ask these questions, nobody knows the answer. And with pattern matching, you can say, the people within the community, within the CSI, right? Now we're just searching within the conversational domain, within CSI. Okay. Within the conversation. The system will be able to find the people who did answer those questions, who do know the answers to those questions, right? And they will therefore be able to find out what do they have in common. It's just pattern matching at that point. It's not that hard, right? Well, the people who have the answers to these questions are mechanical engineers. So just by pattern matching, right, they'll say, when they see these questions being asked and nobody has the answer, we need a mechanical engineer. And depending on how urgent the topic matter is, right, of what they're working on, depending on where it is on the million-step bridge, right, between where we are and where we need to get to be. If it's step number 1, that's high urgency. We need to figure that out right now, or we can't go forward. Is it holding us over? Versus step, 999,321. That can wait, right? Right now we're in the early steps, and so voila, or they can self-identify. Hey, this is urgent. But then here's the thing: if they self-identify urgency, here's the risk that they run. If it's really not urgent, they become the boy who cried wolf. You all know the story, right?
Yeah.
So that and that would impact their social score. If they've got a reputation of crying wolf when they ain't no wolf, and a bunch of people come running, that's not a good thing, right? Now they could say, we think this is important, but we don't know how. Okay, that's honest. That's fine. You know what? Alert me to the people who are saying we think this is important. Don't wake me up if I'm sleeping. If it's truly urgent, wake me up even if I'm sleeping. See, can you imagine the world in that state? Everybody's home. Everybody has their phone on the right setting because they downloaded the app, because we'll have a smartphone app for this service as well. And anyway,
Would be a subscription type thing.
well, you'd sign up and be a member.
You'd be in the directory.
You'd be in the directory. You'd be one of the members, right?
It would be a video, like a 90-second video directory entry for you, where the AI would be able to recall, and the code would allow it to link you to that particular moment in time where the query is being made. I mean, the queries would have to be linked to the video or the meeting or wherever the participant is is involved. Yeah, it's technical. It's a technical thing, I guess, that needs to be worked out by someone who is Einstein at code, right?
No, not even Einstein. This is not that hard. This is basic database stuff and basic process stuff for those who are skilled at this. So let's not worry about those levels of detail right now, because we could just waste a lot of time speculating about details that, since we're not documenting it, it'd just be kind of wasted. What I'd like to talk about instead is what we agreed to a little bit ago. Is let's talk about the vision for this. Forget about specific implementation details and whether you're going to need to be Einstein or not. Forget about all that. Let's focus on so the core scenarios that we're talking about here is, hey, alert me. I'm going to tell the system what I want to be alerted to. Alert me when I'm needed, right? And except when I'm asleep. If I'm asleep, only give me, code 5 and above, or, whatever, of a certain degree of urgency, right?
Well, I get notifications from Twitter.
No, I know. I'm just saying here we would configure how you would get the notifications and under what conditions and all that. Anyway, we're all familiar with those kind of configuration capabilities. So let me move on from there. But just note that the user will be able to really configure very deeply and richly and very specifically under what circumstances they want to be notified: when they're awake, when they're asleep, when they're on vacation, when they're on a phone conversation, etc. Maybe they don't want to be interrupted when they're on the phone unless it's a certain degree of urgency or above. So it's all configurable, right? So that's notifications. Let's just call it notifications. I think that's the simplest way to describe it and the one that most people are familiar with. So I've got notifications. And likewise, when we do a search and we say, hey, show me conversations that are happening right now that map to what I'm about to say, blah, 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 blah. I say all this stuff. And Siri goes, okay, all right. These are the conversations that are happening right now. Now, if it's 4 o'clock in the morning and I can't sleep and I do a search and there's no conversations happening right now, well, darn it. I'll tell you what, give me a notification when there are. Give me a notification when there are.
Or if they can't sleep, can you just show me some recordings that of previous conversations that related to those specific topics I just mentioned? Again, that's just another additive as well to it. And again, as you were saying a while ago about some people might get on it and say, this is important, the cry wolf factor, that's a very important thing to bring up there. If somebody thinks they have something important to say and it's about a specific subject, then that in a sense is letting them set their own priority for notifications as well. So if anybody has information or there is information available to them, if it's not an ongoing conversation at the time, and if the AI can't reach anybody or any information about that subject at the time, then they'll be notified priority as soon as somebody brings up that subject straight after. Just in case the information isn't there yet, then it's already remembered that that person is looking for information into that subject. So if it comes up in the meantime, it'll be redirected to them as well. Those kind of things, yeah, definitely.
Totally. Just a super configurable. My uncle's calling. Let me just tell him I'll be right back. I just need a second.
Yeah, I'm just going to go off camera there for a few minutes. I'm making a cup of tea there, lads, Nolan. But I can still hear you when I plug out my earphones there. I can hear it on the loudspeaker.
No problemo. What do you think, Nolan? How's it going?
All right.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm really laid back, just like you, man. Laid back. You don't see my video. You know, I'm much too bashful. You know, in my old age. But I'm laid back, just like you. Go on.
I always wonder what's in the works right now. And there's definitely something useful about all of these companies specializing in, you know, different forms of media, social media, you know, tools like Google Docs. But it's like the whole thing needs to be, it's like we have a bunch of modules, but they weren't really designed to work well with each other, or some of them were. More popular ones have like some kind of integration with each other, but I'm just kind of thinking about these different pieces coming together and not requiring, you know, members of the collective intelligence to basically, you know, try to reinvent a bunch of different wheels for the sake of doing it all at the same time in one place. You know?
No, totally. We don't have to reinvent any wheels. Let's just integrate what we need, like this Wakelet stuff. But right now we're just talking. But remember, we agree we're just going to talk about the vision for now, right? And then we'll figure out what pieces we need for it. Does that make sense, or did I miss something?
Well, it seems like a pretty integral part of the vision to me that if we're going to talk about using, there's a bunch of companies that both well-known and little-known companies that have done tons of work in the areas we've talked about. And so part of the vision then for me is that those companies come together and cooperate somehow and integrate, which is pretty significant, I think. And then if that's the case, that we we don't just redo a bunch of work open source, but instead get a bunch of companies that kind of already have these things, get those to plug into each other, you know, then my questions are, well, why wouldn't the companies be doing this already? And then if that's like, you know, the I guess I'm starting to wonder now, is all we really need to do all we really need to do is just really flesh out what it is we want, and then get like a big enough group of people that's motivated and committed to that, and then essentially, you know, be communicating with a bunch of different companies, or put the challenge out there to those companies and say, yeah, Jamen.
Well, that's one way to go at that point. The other way to go is, once we have all these committed people together who get it, and we collectively get the whole thing, because individuals amongst us are experts at this, that, and the other. So collectively we get the whole thing. We either go lobby the big companies to, you know, help out with this and participate, or we create a universal connector, a dashboard that connects to all these different web services. And I know that's a less ideal solution than just getting the companies to basically open up their APIs to each other and, you know, create programmatic access, create a central database that it's all hyper connected and everything. I mean, that's kind of the ideal, but short of the ideal, you know, because here's the thing, having worked for big companies, number one, they're kind of insular. I mean, it would sort of take like a United Nations of companies. It would take a UN of companies to already be in existence for this to even be put on the floor. But there is no UN of companies upon which to put anything on the floor. There's no floor, right? I'm getting a little bit excited here because I think it's a fascinating concept. But if anyone could create the United Nations of companies, the collective superintelligence could. So it becomes a little bit circular. Which came first, the chicken or the egg, as these egg-laying birds go squawking past? So what I would suggest then is that the collective superintelligence do a high-level design of the thing, spec out what we want, which is what we're basically doing right now. But your question is all we have to do spec out what we want and then take it to the big companies? We have to spec out what we want. We need to then build out the collective superintelligence ourselves, right? Because the big companies are typically the last ones to wake up to a big opportunity. Like at Microsoft, they could not smell a giant opportunity under their noses to save their life if it came from within the company, much less outside the company. The only time that they realized that something was big was when it was worth, you know, billions of dollars, and then they'd go acquire it. Anyway, I'm being a little cynical, but my point is, it's really hard to get through, right, to these big companies just by their very nature. So I see a much more plausible pathway is to do the integration ourselves. Initially starting off with just a set of instructions. Here's how you do, you know, make sure you've got a Reddit account and a Zoom account and an email account and a whatever account, right? And once you've got those, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 things, here's what you do with them, right? You know, you go to Radish and, you know, you log into your Wakelet account or whatever, and then you know, do this and this and this and this. And it's just a set of instructions, right? So we cobble it together that way. And then the next stage of that would be we create a dashboard that has the various connectors to the different services programmatically programmed in. So you just have one dashboard, you log in and, you know, and it's got you, and it like LastPass, it saves your passwords to these different, hey, if LastPass can do it, we can do it, right? It saves your passwords to these different services, and, you know, you securely log in, you know, interact with all these other services however you interact with them, or programmatically, but mainly you're just working with one dashboard with a bunch of different views, like we were talking about. The people view, right? The topics and conversations view, the notifications view, the request view, the searches view, the this view, the that view, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
I like it. Dashboard. That's good.
Yeah, but, you know, so we've now got, and then once we've got that, we can then go to these companies and say, look, you idiots, you know, you weren't willing to come to the table when we invited you, so we had to upcycle you. You've now been upcycled, you know, by the CSI matrix, for example. So now, you know, and now we're inviting you to come to the table as a fully fledged member and integrate, bring all your hidden toys and stuff and all your assets, and now we can do something really super cool together, right?
Yeah, I get what you're saying there, Jim. And I get what you were coming from as well there, Nolan. I was listening there as I was making the tea. Like in regards to why don't all these companies, why haven't they all done it before? And obviously the reason for that is they're all in it for separate financial gain all along. They didn't see, they're not seeing the full picture. Like basically, they're all separate parts of an engine. And what Jamen is trying to do is put the engine together, really, to make the internet's around since 1984. I'm not very familiar with it only until the last number of years, but it's around since 1984. But I think this is probably the first genuine thing that it should have been used for from the very beginning. You know what I mean? It was a way of connecting the global people globally. And yeah, there were search engines. There are Google and Wikipedia and all these search engines, and they're all the type of collective intelligence. Or so is a dictionary, and so is an encyclopedia. You know what I mean? But this is an interactive, face-to-face collective intelligence, something that the internet has never offered anyone before. This is a whole new level of the internet, like, and yeah. They haven't. I get what Jamen just said there about Microsoft, but not seeing a good idea until they fell over it. The point is, tough shit on them. Jamen already got there with this idea. We're already on board. We're getting it off the ground, and it will get off the ground. And they'll kick themselves for not getting it off the ground themselves. But they'll soon want to be jumping on because they'll want to jump on because they see that this is where the fucking numbers are, and this is where the people are. And this is where things are starting to be made, you know, things are being made sense of the world, like. So, you know, it's all going to come into place, and their whole system and way of thinking about how they use the internet to make a few bob for themselves is all going to turn over in the sense that it's not going to be about money anymore. It's going to be about using the parts of the engine to get the whole fucking engine working properly.
Beautiful. That's it. But we're going to have to demonstrate it to them. That's when, you know, just like you said, I mean, Facebook didn't recognize WhatsApp until it had grown to something that they had to throw down $17 billion to acquire, right? When they could have very easily have coded the thing themselves. And that gets to the real value in what we're creating here is the community, right? The software, it's not that the software is incidental, right? The software is crucial, but the software is increasingly becoming a commodity, right? Once any company creates a cool web service or whatever, anyone else can come along and reverse engineer it. That's easier and easier these days to do. So software is increasingly a commodity. It's the community, right? It's these pioneers, right, that we now have in still relatively small numbers, but those are about to multiply by many orders of magnitude as people realize what this is and what's at stake.
Did you see?
Mm-hmm.
Could you see reverse engineering Twitter? I mean,
piece of cake. Oh my God, piece of cake.
Imagine they have the Periscope. What a waste. You know, I mean, you've got all the interconnectivity there, but yet people are not connected, I find. You know, we could do so much better than Twitter. You know, I think I have to give that some consideration.
Well, I think Wakelet and Flipboard combined with everything that we've come up with, put that all together, And I think, voila, that's going to take us leaps and bounds into the future. So, and then with that as our platform, now I'm being tempted to show my platform slides. Just
You see the Twitter dashboard, though? I mean, as far as a dashboard goes, that's something that you could work on too, you know, down the line. You know, where you can have access to people who are, you know, you've got connection with, to, you know, have that direct contact there, you know, with the video incorporated into the system, into the platform. Easy access, one-click access to it. You know what I mean?
well, can we, with Wavelet, do they have direct access with Twitter? Can you like tweet whatever you just put up on Wavelet?
I believe you can. Yeah, I think you can tweet to Twitter and Facebook for at the moment, and leave links wherever on your personal site. Like if you have a WordPress or a website, you can embed the post.
Okay. Yeah. So
I think.
Huh?
No, I was just saying. I think just in relation to what Emery's saying, I think that anyone that would be really putting any input into the collective intelligence and would be offering any help in any way or whatever, would more than likely would put in their contact details. But if they were open to having like a discussion with anyone that was making inquiries, then they can specify that and specify what times they could be contacted directly as well, you know, and offer a portion of their time during the week for taking somebody's direct call or something like that outside of the videos.
Yeah, input is key. You know, we input to the platform is what's required here, you know, obviously. And the more input we have, the better service the AI will be able to provide when we make our queries.
yeah, I think we're really on the right track with focusing on the vision, because the more we clarify the vision for how the system needs to work, how we want it to work, and then I think it just becomes more and more obvious what the different pieces are that we need to integrate. And then we've got the very real work of doing the integration. The first, I kind of see this in stages. So right now, where are we at right now? Where is the "you are here" dot on the map? Where we are right now is we've got video conferencing through Zoom. We've got web page. We got our WordPress website where we post the links, the upcoming, you know, video conferences and the agendas and whatnot. And then we've got email and social media, and we blast it out and we invite people to come. That's where we are now. Not very high feature set, okay? But it's been enough, frankly, to bring us together, right? We got YouTube. YouTube's a huge thing that's brought us together, right? Let's not forget YouTube. So we're using some very powerful pieces. Now we're talking about taking it to the next level. But I think the next level, just like we haven't created any dashboard that's brought together email, WordPress, YouTube, and Zoom, right? Nor do we need a dashboard to add another 3 or 4 others like Wakelet, Twitter. It sounds like those two are two good next acquisitions, right? And still, It'll be a manual process. Do this, cha-cha-cha, right? I think once we've got the right mix of ingredients in the stone soup, we'll know it. And then we can say, okay, now that we got the right ingredients, now let's can it and sell it. And canning it and selling it means build the dashboard that ties it all together. And that's a major undertaking. Go ahead, James.
And as we were discussing earlier there as well, getting that information, then that information of what the whole of it, aspects of it are about, getting that out to the general public as well, whereas what we were talking about, advertising. So that's why I was getting Stephanie back in the conversation, because the video that she was proposing to make would be something to get the young people and, well, all walks, mixing it with the right music and getting the right parts of the conversations we've had into the video to draw people's attention. But we do need to draw numbers now, like that's a priority we have to concentrate on too.
I'm not looking to make any tricks, you know. The content is going to be what it is, you know, and people will have to be drawn to the content because of the way they are, the way their heart is, the way their intention is now, you know, in understanding what's happening to the planet and everything. I mean, I don't want to trick anybody into coming, you know, just, it's, I don't know how to describe what I'm feeling.
Well, no, I wasn't meaning to trick anybody either. What I mean is advertising the block party in a way that we draw numbers to it. That's all I'm on about. Gathering numbers. Now, as you said a while ago, we need input, and we can't get the input without gathering the numbers. So in order to get the input, what comes before that is gathering the numbers. What comes before that is, as Jamen said, is building the platform right. So we have all the pieces, we agree on them and put them together to get it to work right. Gather the numbers, get the input, solve the problems.
Nolan, is Radish, is that a WordPress configuration? Yeah. So Radish has the Twitter and the WordPress. When was the last time you posted on Twitter?
If not the last block party, the one before. I've been meaning to regularly tweet out when we're doing the block party. And I should probably be doing that for the Solution Club too. And I was thinking it'd be cool to get into the habit of basically as the conversations during the block party roll and we go through a schedule, we could just tweet out every time, you know, we're about to start a conversation with so-and-so about whatever, and just tweet that out, you know, 30 minutes before or something like that.
You know what I find, my observation here is that with these platforms like Twitter, YouTube, you know, WordPress, it's a two-way street actually, right? I mean, you're going to create your post, your spot on that platform, right? But to have subscribers or to have people who are actually aware that you exist, okay? The way people understand that you exist is that you have to, in some way, acknowledge them also, you know? So you're cruising the internet and you're on your WordPress or whatever, you have to come across people and, you know, people who are already there too, right? It could be a company, it could be a university, it could be a number of entities that are established with a WordPress or a channel on YouTube or a Twitter. So you have to make first contact, right? And become a part of the conversation that they've initiated. And in return, they will acknowledge you also. So then once they acknowledge you, they become aware that you exist. And they could have you could have exposure to your ongoing activity. So otherwise, the activities that are ongoing, they won't see the light of day, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why I was on about there, Emery, about Stephanie was proposing to make that little short video, kind of as a throw that up on something like Facebook or whatever to advertise it. So we do draw people here to the conversation. So, you know, it's just a suggestion.
I love that idea. Absolutely love it. Stephanie, great to see you. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Just kind of touch off what Emery was saying there. Like you can do that with advertising exposure, and like we are asking for all people to join here, so that is in a sense connecting with all people. So you, as I said, I might not make it clear, and I talk very fast sometimes, but sorry, Kevin's practicing guitar with headphones in next to me. Basically, what your end goal here is with collective intelligence is like that, to get everybody in and to get that point across, but also hit them with the points that the many different subjects we talk about is bound to hit somebody. And if somebody's watching a very quick advert that they're hearing the voice plus they're seeing it happen in front of them, very quickly get the point, to say, hey, this might be something like, and like this every Friday we talk about this, like really put it into people in simple terms, because sometimes you do have to do that. That would just bump the numbers up. And talking about vision and all that, I think the next step, like even your plan that you show, your 8 steps, I think we actually are bouncing from step 1 and 2, and it's about 3 now, which is bumping up the numbers. And like if I was to say to Kev, like obviously if he wants to play music, he wants it for the masses. But first goal, try and get a festival in Ireland this year. You know what I mean? So maybe next week, the big goal is to get 30 extra people in here, and maybe advertising could help, as well as sharing and all these other platforms and etc. So it's just a little something to make people aware and exposure, as Emery mentioned there earlier.
Beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. You know, what just occurred to me is, you know, as you well know, Stephanie, there are these moments when someone expresses something with such passion and such clarity, right, that you're just like, oh my goodness, that's it. I just want to capture that. So if we go back through the last several hours, even just from today, right? Even, you know, 8 hours of video that we got going on today, recording. There are some real nuggets in there, right? And just showing, you know, and a single slice could be 10 seconds. It could be 15 seconds, right? It could be 30 seconds. It could be 5 seconds. And just showing this sequential collage of people really expressing themselves with passion, whether it's a plea to Professor Guy McPherson, or an insight about what the system could do, or a big picture description that just, wow, captures it, right? I remember, and we've had these moments just today. And in fact, I think there's something, you know, like that book, A Day in the Life of Ireland, right? Where all these photographers descended on Ireland, and in one day went snap, 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 snap. the fact that it all happened on the same day turns out to be really, really important. So they were able to take all the pictures they needed for that book in one day, versus a team of photographers traveling throughout the country for a whole year. It's a whole different experience. So I think just drawing from this one multi-hour meeting is like that, a day in the life of Ireland. Shoot, that's not a bad title. And since we have such a strong Irish presence, anyway, I mean, there's a zillion ways we could spin it, but let's do that compendium. Let's do that collage from today and put it out there and say, you know, collective intelligence block party. You don't know what you're missing. Watch this and you will. Collective intelligence block party. You don't know what you're missing. Watch this and you will. And then you'll come. And then you'll keep coming. And then you'll bring your friends. It's like that, right? Suddenly, saving life on Earth. Suddenly, saving life on Earth has become the big hot topic. Thank you, Corona. Because pre-Corona, it was, hey man, want to go get a Corona? Right? I mean, we were just, we were living large, partying it up, doing whatever the hell we felt like it, right? And a few of us were worried about saving life on Earth. Now everyone's on it, right? So this is the moment to invite people to the party where we get our collective heads around this and make it happen. Boom, see right there. That's a nice little segment.
Yeah.
At the beginning or the end or the middle or whatever.
I mean, basically, are you fed up with almost going insane from not finding the solutions to the whole lot of the situations that are going wrong on this planet? Everything that we do seems to revolve around profit and gain, while we destroy the place and destroy all the animals and destroy the future for our future generations. And yet there doesn't seem to be any solutions. Well, there are. Get together here on the Collective Intelligence Party, where not only you can find solutions, you can help to make them.
And just to say as well, like, you know, reiterate what Jamen was saying there, you always hear conspiracy theories and people don't believe in global warming and all this crap, but this is one thing that they can't, everybody's heads are turned now and they're listening. So we actually have to take advantage of that, like, you know, in the best way possible, like talking about treatment and all that, as well as maybe have another like breakout room about, like, you know, teaching people how to, a lot of people, especially my age, I don't know about your country, but like they haven't a clue, like, you know, and they think if they have a euro in their pocket, all they can eat is pot noodle, when actually you can make a really decent meal that would last 3-4 days. So little things like these that we can help people as well. And but the reason for the hone into that right now was, one, it helps, but two, bring in the numbers, and we could take full advantage of that now. And imagine the people that would say afterwards and say, hey, do you know what, that was really good, that was really beneficial, I think I could help these guys out with X, Y, and Z as well.
Yeah, exactly, Stephanie. And I just did that little take there for you, so you could take that out as a clip as well, because that's what we need, is just get, like as Jamen said, get those clips together from this one. Just this conversation alone was very good, but you know yourself, there are other conversations, other parts you want to throw in there, where Emery mentioned something very important there as well, adding music to that to draw people's attention to it. You know yourself, you're in that, you've done advertisement, you know, you're into film production, you know what to do with it, like. So I suggest go do your stuff anyway, like, because we need to gather numbers now.
I know, I did notice that you did that little plug, and maybe I find it funny because I'm just your daughter, but I was just like MC James there, like, you know, on the radio. What? But no, I know exactly how to do it. Like, I haven't made them myself, but I worked in producing for ads for, like, you know, Travel and Tourism Ireland, VHI, ALB, Pinergy, a lot of big companies, like, you know, but I my biggest interest is in music videos, and music videos is telling the detailed story in 3 minutes, like, you know. I also know how to appeal to the people who just are visual learners, want to get the point very quickly, get it to me simply, connect to me, and you have me, like, you know. So you have to appeal to them too. So I know the vision, and I think we've said enough. There's a lot of things like that for 24 hours. Sometimes it lags, fair enough, that's grand. But like for me personally, you know, that could be just my point of view, but for me personally, there's been a lot of things already said that was enough to make 10 advertisement videos, like, you know. Whether, and again, it's quality over quantity, like, you know. Sometimes people just really hit it home in one sentence, and again, it'd be only my point of view for now, but like, you know, I think I know what to plug here and there, so I'll be fine. But today, I know I missed out on a lot, but earlier today I really felt like, oh, this is getting on, like, we're on the train here, we're really pushing it, like, you know, and it's good, like, that's exactly what we needed. And so even, yeah, that's a good idea, Jamie, and even just that I can use that as a little project, just do what we did today and just see how that comes across and what it looks like, and if they're happy, I can go ahead and do more. I mean, I've nothing to do now, I'm on lockdown, like, you know, so all my work is in film and media and schools, which are all in lockdown, so I have plenty of time to practice and all that, and all the gear here, so keep throwing out the ideas, people, more videos.
Oh my goodness, Stephanie, I love it. And here's the thing. I don't know if you know this, but for people in the United States, the Irish are just beautiful visually, culturally, their voice, everything. The fact that they're into music. I mean, and here's the thing, because so much of America has its roots. Kevin, what's up? So much of the United States, it's okay. So much of the United States has its roots in Ireland, right? And so for all these reasons, there's just this nostalgia for that beautiful green island with beautiful people and, you know, fairies and leprechauns and pubs and music. And so the fact that it would be, you know, narrated by yourself, oh my goodness. And then the father-daughter thing, where in the United States, culturally, we're all screwed up. So father-daughter, they're disconnected, they hate each other, it's just all screwed up. The fact that there's a father-daughter team that's working together, right? And then bring in rock star fiance Kevin, and whoa, you know, I mean, we're just captivated, right? Sometimes we just show up for you guys, and you know, so I really think it's just, we've got a dynamite scenario here.
I think just a quick suggestion before we do sign off later on. I think Kevin should play us out later on with a little tune, maybe something. Well, I'll leave that up to himself. But before we do sign off after on, I think he should give us a little bit of a riff on the guitar.
Yeah, let's do it.
Stephanie, what video editor are you using?
Well, I have access to the Adobe Suite, but I myself stick to Final Cut Pro, which I use in college, and it works for me. So.
Uh-huh.
Just to say as well, I didn't plan to narrate it myself. I didn't think I have the voice for.
Oh my goodness!
I was going to use your voice of, like, you know, like, well, mixed with everybody else chiming in, but basically your voice carrying the main vision, because you have explained that so well a few times that I can pick the best one and carry that through.
Yeah. Okay. No. As you wish, Stephanie. You're the one with the vision for this. So as you wish. We are all at your service. If you want to interview one of us, if you want me to do just a solo shoot and then send you the video, whatever you need, just ask, and don't hesitate to ask, and ask for more, and ask for more, and ask for this, and ask for that. The more requests I get from you, the better. It's as simple as that. Nolan, go ahead.
I just want to throw in here that at all the previous block parties, except maybe the first one. I don't remember. I created a Google Doc where I time-stamped exactly when we started each recording, and then I like have my clock on my computer set to show like the seconds, and so I have a bunch of like timestamps with a little like you know, description of so and so talks about this, or so and so shares this. So there's a bunch of that we could use for past material, and I didn't do that at this meeting today. The Solution Clubs have turned into a much longer thing, but I'll definitely do that at the next block party. So so we'll have that to work with as well.
Yeah, that's actually pretty perfect. It's kind of having like an edit decision list, like, you know, you have everything there, so that would save me a lot of time.
Yeah.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be excellent as well. Yeah, definitely. I was going to suggest as well, anyway, apart from that, is that if anybody have like, because in one of our conversations going back a few weeks ago, somebody suggested, you know, I think it was Miles suggested we could, if you have a favorite moment in any particular conversation, we could screenshot that moment and take note of the time in the conversation and kind of put it up on your Facebook as a post saying, my favorite moment during the collective intelligence block party conversation, and then people are going, oh, what's that all about? Like, but they could look at that moment and then see what the conversation was about. So that's another way of advertising it as well. And as regards to narrating, as you were saying a while ago, Steph, I know you're a bit nervous about talking even on this, because like myself, we Irish do tend to talk a little fast. But I think it, as you said yourself, Jamen really defines what the collective intelligence is about. But when you pick out individual pieces of people having conversation, that is also what it's about, is other people having conversation as well. So that each piece you pick out will be part of the narration of the video you're getting across anyway. So yeah, just letting you know, just saying that.
Good idea, James. I like your idea.
Yeah, no, but
Favorite
thank you.
moments.
Thank you.
I just love this community. Look at this amazing community that we've got together here. Anyway, the story is going to be told in so many beautiful ways. Stephanie, I want to thank you for what you've just showed me with respect to the following. And I hadn't realized it myself until you said it. But the thing is, we've done so much of this over the years that we're now deep into this territory, right? And what we're about to lay out onto the platform, which is now big and broad enough to support it, okay? What we're about to lay out onto the platform is this: a taxonomy of all the things that are important, starting with the most urgent, right? Corona, SRM, and CSI herself, okay? And the deeper we get along the road, the faster things are going and the richer things are getting. And, you know, we're, you know, now getting into this territory more and more. Well, we've been in it for a while with SRM and CSI and whatnot. We're just now getting into here with Corona. But anyway, as we make progress along the yellow brick road, things are just really picking up. So thank you for that. Yeah. See, sometimes you can't see what you've done until someone else shows it to you and really shows you where you're at. Anyway, I am super grateful for you all. It's very late there in Ireland. You've been very, very generous with your time. Thank you so much for that. And I'd love to hear some music from Kevin, and any other comments, anything else anyone would like to say.
I think
But
it's been a great day. It's been a great day, and you know, we'll slowly bring it to an end for this time with some music and some final words from all of us.
Thanks, Emery, and it's been good talking with you again this evening. And likewise, it's been a good day, and I think it's a good time to wind it up. If we're all in agreement with that, like, but because I don't feel I have any more to input anyway here tonight, anyway, like. So, but I'm looking forward to the block party on Friday, anyway. So I'll see you all then.
And it's been a great 9 hours, everyone. A wonderful 9 hours. Wow.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, I am super grateful for everyone, and thanks to everyone for watching and sharing and for joining. Please take this all to heart and join us for the next ones. Block party this Friday. All right. And can we get good audio for Kevin? And I'll mute my mic. This is being recorded. It's all being recorded.
I feel like I had a kitten in the corner saying, perform. But I think he's going to do something now. And hopefully you can hear properly. I don't know if you want to.
Beautiful, Kevin. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, that was fading in out a bit for me there. I don't know what was going on with my speakers. But brilliant, Kev. Brilliant. Talk to you all Friday.
Yeah, I think it was across all the speakers. I think some of the high notes, it's sort of like the algorithm automatically filtered it out, like a screech or something. You know, that kind of automatic filtering. But overall, beautiful, just beautiful. And I love your spirit, Kevin. Beautiful spirit. Thank you. Wow. What an inspiration.
Kevin is a man of many words as well, like Nolan.
Very good. All righty. Well, thank you so much to everyone. And I leave you with the last words.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks goes to all. Respect, love, and respect to everyone. We'll see you all soon. And take care.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks to everyone. Thanks tonight, and I'll talk to you Friday. And just Stephanie, take care, love. I'll talk to you soon. I'll talk to you Friday anyway, and maybe beforehand on Messenger. But take care anyway, and keep yourself safe. God bless.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and it was a great start to the day and a great end to the night. Very late night for me, but a great end. And thanks very much for the great conversation as usual.
Or to the block party.
For sure.
Heck yeah. All right. We'll see everyone this Friday at the block party. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great night.
Bye for now.